Hit it just down the right side, but if you've got some wind conditions, wind behind your back, you can nearly drive this green.
Are you kidding me? Come on, you can't hit a ball that hard.
That is crushing it beyond all crushing.
That is a monster hit right there. He carried that more than 350 yards. So on the putting surface, and taking a good look now at this birdie putt here at the second. This is EA Sports coverage of the PGA Tour. Well, the players are set and ready to go. Rich Lerner alongside Frank Nobilo, ready to bring you all of the action for EA Sports. And Frank, you've been there so many times at the game's biggest championships. What's the best way to get off on the right foot?
Some nice full practice swings. You don't really want to be trying to hit sort of three-quarter shots straight out of the gate, unless obviously if you have to. So some nice full swings. Pick some rather generous targets. Get yourself some confidence under the belt early on.
So 2 under early on. Trying to get the round off to a good start. Frank, we're at the second hole, and what's ahead?
Well, the ideal tee shot just a little over that gorse bush in front of you, which is down the right side. That's the best angle in. But it also brings in a little bit of trouble. But if that pin is anywhere towards the middle of this double green, then really you want to be coming in from the right side.
Really good distance control there, playing well to his strengths. 10-foot putt left. That puts them at 4 under for the round. On the tee box here at the third now. Frank, all of these holes look relatively straightforward. Can a golfer get lured in kind of a false sense of security off the tee here at the old course?
Well, you can. This hole, the third hole, even shorter than the second, so reachable. But a lot of people tend to bail out towards the left. That's the middle of the golf course. And that leaves you a devilish little pitch or short wedge across that big gaping bunker that protects both the third and the 15th green. So once again, want to drive the ball down the right side, but there's a series of pot bunkers there.
So makes the putt, and now at -6. Frank, now at the fourth hole.
Yeah, long par 4, 2 choices. Whether he's game enough to drive it down the right or down the left, which is a much wider piece of fairway.
What a display of power and precision off the tee. On the green here on the par 4 in 1. That is a cross-country putt right there.
Up and over the ridge. That's a seagull.
Hole number 5 of the first par 5 we've seen today. This fairway looks like it narrows quite a bit, Frank. Are you thinking eagle when you step up onto the tee?
Well, you could, especially if you've got a little bit of breeze behind you, but it's quite wide in the driving area with the exception of those 3 bunkers on the right that just sort of pop out. But if you can get it past those, this par 5, very reachable.
Seems to like it. Looks like it's headed for the... Oh, without a doubt, that will be on the highlight reel later tonight. Excellent shot. Now at the 6th, not a particularly long hole, Frank, par 4.
Yeah, semi-blind tee shot. You've got an idea where you want to hit, but there's a series of 3 bunkers. They're called the coffins down the left side, as well as some pop bunkers down the right. So this requires a very accurate tee shot.
On the dance floor here at the 6th, but still a pretty hard putt coming up, about 30 feet away. It's a good-looking putt right here. I might like it. Just an amazing display. The records continue to fall. Continuing from the oldest championship in the game. It's the Open Championship at the old course at St. Andrews here at the 7th hole now, Frank.
Yeah, you try and hit your tee shot over a little stone there. It's called the March stone. That's a good line for like left of center. And, well, if you can just work it off that, good tee shot. You're only going to have a pitch in here to a green that's set up very high.
You can't hide the flagstick from that man.
He is just unbelievable, that never deviated offline. Great tee.
Beautiful. Standing on the tee at the par 3 8th here at the old course. And Frank, what are we looking at here?
One of the biggest greens on the golf course. It looks flat. It looks like it's easy. But once that flag gets on the left side, this one, the hole becomes a little bit more difficult. It's very easy to take this hole for granted. Very hard to hit it close, though.
Beautiful shot. That is tight.
Unbelievable. That is one to savor for the rest of the round.
And he has it.
A good putt redeems all.
And Frank, the Open Championship coming back to the home of golf this summer.
Yeah, and remember, too, the last time it was here, Louis Oosthuizen at the 9th hole, he had no problem driving this par 4. So let's see if you can do the same. If you can carry that last bunker down there, there's every chance that your tee shot can run onto this very flat green. Surely not.
Drivable par 4, not for most in this field, but for this guy, yes, he has just knocked it on. What a shot. Excellent front side, trying to keep it going here on the second nine.
He's just playing beautifully, hitting so many good shots, giving himself so many opportunities. Can he keep it going?
Frank, it hit the green, but just didn't have enough backspin.
Yeah, you wonder what he was thinking on that.
It's in the hole. Just a sensational shot right there. Now to the par 3 11th, and Frank, what's the key here?
Well, this green is slightly elevated. Huge false front, sort of left and right of that Strath bunker. And, of course, that bunker on the hill, or should I say that bunker on the left is called Hill. That's the famous bunker where Bobby Jones couldn't get out of it many years ago and actually ripped up his scorecard. So a good tee shot here, just find that right level where the flag is.
Seems to like it. Headed for the fat part of the green. That's an outstanding shot right there, and it sets up a really good look at birdie. These putts keep the round together. He's made it. Frank, from this vantage point here at the 12th, you can see why the old course, St. Andrews, are so iconic in the sport.
Yeah, this is a fun hole as we start to sort of head back to the village of St. Andrews. Hole's called Heathery. There's a big crop of heather on the left, and there's 4 little pot bunkers that are in the middle of this fairway, so you've really got to be cognizant of those. But good time to take the head cover off if you're a long hitter, and then you've only got to worry about that one pot bunker just short of the green.
Well, he's done it. That's an eagle right there. Tremendous effort. Here at the par 4 13th hole at the old course, Frank, what's the best play, power, or do you go with precision?
Well, you'd like a nice mixture of both there, Rich. If you can take those coffins out of play, that's the name for those series of bunkers sort of down the middle, then obviously you've got a much shorter shot coming in, and then you've got a chance to actually have a full view of the screen.
Good tee shot, good lie, and now a good chance to take advantage here on this hole. And in the hole. What a shot. Frank, you can actually play this 14th hole by taking a detour to another hole on the front side. Explain.
Yeah, that's the 4th hole. The 4th hole is adjacent to the 14th, and if you're in a little bit of trouble off the tee, there's nothing wrong with playing the 14th as a zigzag style par 5. So That means the drive, if it doesn't go down the right, you go further left and then back to the green. But it's a safer way, but a much longer option.
And that's how you play the game, right there. Frank, how rare would this be if this putt drops?
Well, this is I'd like to say once in a lifetime, but on the odd occasion we do see back-to-back eagles, but it certainly is something to watch.
Right out of the center of the bat.
Did you hear that?
Well, they claim it's a reachable par 4. We haven't seen a whole lot of people do it today. We just saw it right there. Well done. Wow, I thought he made that. Well, that's not the way you wanted to start out the backside here.
Yeah, you can't afford from inside 10 feet. It just, you feel like you have to make those, and I mean, they really sting when they miss.
Frank, the 16th hole, there was a time in my life when I was in 4th grade, I would have really enjoyed hitting the principal's nose.
He's loading up on it.
Look at the coil there. Really powering up here. Appears to be a smart shot, Frank.
Yeah, no problem here. That's going to fly all the way.
Well, he didn't knock down the flagstick right there, but 25 feet, that's not too bad. Just needs to keep it steady here over the putt. Well, this one's tracking. This one has a chance, and he has it. Beautiful putt. Frank, so many famous landmarks on this hole. The hotel on the right, you want to avoid that. The bunker on the left, and then the stone wall beyond the road.
Yeah, there's all those features is one of the reasons why no one would be allowed to design a hole like this today. It also makes it not only unique, but I think that's the greatness of the hole, is that all those problems you're very aware of. It's just, can you avoid them?
Appears to be what they call a commercial play, very solid. And it makes the green in regulation. Boy, this could be a tough one right here, Frank.
It's a very long putt, Rich. Obviously it's difficult, but he still has a shot to sink this one for birdie.
Wow, what a putt. That is huge. Frank, here at the 18th, so much history has been made through the years.
Yeah, one of my favorite memories, I remember Jack Nicklaus when he beat Doug Sanders in that playoff. The famous sort of short putt that Doug Sanders missed, but really the great moment that stands out was Seve making that 15-footer across the hill in 1984 wearing the blue sweater. Not only did he win the Open Championship, but he beat a tremendous field that included Bernard Langer, Tom Watson, Fred Couples, Lanny Wadkins, Faldo, and Greg Norman. It was an amazing Open Championship.
And I loved that fist pump. It was pure Seve. All that fire, all that passion came flying out. And that's where you just sort of fell in love with the game. Bang! Frank, that was an impressive round out there today.
Couldn't agree more, Rich. We've seen some great shots out there, and I'm excited to see how the rest of this tournament plays out.